My child, come closer. Let your heart be still for a moment and listen, not with fear, not with urgency, but with the quiet part of you that has always known my voice even when you doubted it was me. I see you. I have seen you long before this moment, long before this question formed in your mind, long before the ache settled into your chest and refused to leave. Nothing about you is hidden from me, not your hope, not your longing, not the way you wait for a love that feels whole and complete. You are loved. Let that truth settle gently, without conditions, without bargaining, without needing proof. You are loved not because you are perfect, not because you endured silently, not because you kept believing when it hurt, but simply because you are mine. My love does not waver with moods, does not hesitate when you are tired, does not pull away when you ask hard questions. It remains steady even when everything else feels uncertain, but I will not lie to you, my beloved. I do not soothe you with half-truths. The truth today is this: his heart is not completely yours. And I know how deeply that sentence cuts. I know how you replay moments, searching for reassurance in his words, his tone, his silences. I know how you wonder if loving more, giving more, waiting longer will finally make his heart settle fully with you. I know how you tell yourself that love should be patient, that endurance must mean something. That surely I would not allow you to feel this much if it led nowhere. Hear me carefully now. His divided heart is not a reflection of your worth. It is not evidence that you are lacking, unlovable, or insufficient. It is not a challenge for you to prove yourself. It is simply the truth of where he is, and that truth is not yours to fix. I see how you carry this quietly. How you smile when others ask how you are. How you tell yourself you are strong, that you can handle the uncertainty a little longer. How you pray not just for clarity, but for him to change, for circumstances to shift, for something, anything, to finally align. I see how you blame yourself for feeling hurt, as if pain means weakness. But pain is not your enemy. Pain is a signal, and I do not ask you to ignore it. You were never created to compete for love. You were never designed to stand in the shadow of another presence in someone's heart. Love that is meant for you does not keep you guessing about your place. Love that honors you does not require you to shrink your needs or silence your intuition. Love that reflects my heart brings peace alongside passion, safety alongside desire. I know you are afraid of letting go of what feels close to love, even if it is incomplete. I know you fear that releasing this attachment might mean losing everything you hoped for. But my child, holding on to what cannot fully hold you will slowly teach your heart to accept less than it deserves. And I did not form you for partial belonging. Do not confuse intensity with destiny. Do not mistake longing for confirmation. Some connections feel powerful not because they are meant to last, but because they are meant to teach. And this season is teaching you something sacred, that your heart is precious, and it cannot thrive where it is only partially chosen. I am not angry with you for loving. I am not disappointed that you hoped. Love was never your mistake. But I am inviting you now into a deeper honesty with yourself and with me. Ask yourself, gently and without judgment, whether this love nourishes you or drains you. Ask whether it draws you closer to peace or keeps you restless. Ask whether you feel seen fully, or merely tolerated in moments. I am close to you in this questioning. I am not rushing you. I do not push you off cliffs and call it faith. I walk with you through the valley of discernment, where truth is sometimes painful but always freeing. And even here, even now, you are not alone. There is a difference between patience and self-abandonment. There is a difference between faith and fear of being alone. Waiting can be holy, but only when it does not cost you your dignity, your joy, your sense of self. I never ask you to wait in a way that breaks you. You may wonder why I allowed you to love someone whose heart is divided. You may ask why I let you feel so deeply if the outcome is uncertain. My child, some lessons cannot be learned through distance. Some truths only emerge when you are close enough to feel them. And through this, I am strengthening your discernment, refining your understanding of love, teaching you to listen to the quiet voice within that says, something is not whole here. That voice is not sabotage. It is wisdom. I am not taking love away from you. I am preparing you for love that does not require you to beg for presence or clarity. Love that does not make you feel second, unsure, or replaceable. Love that meets you openly, without shadows from the past or divided loyalties. You do not have to decide everything today. You do not need to force conclusions or dramatic endings. But you do need to be honest with yourself. You need to stop dismissing your own discomfort as overthinking. You need to trust that the unease you feel is not a lack of faith, but an invitation to deeper alignment. Rest in me tonight. Let your heart breathe. You are not running out of time. You are not losing your chance at love. What is meant for you will not pass you by because you chose truth over attachment. What is meant for you will recognize your worth without needing persuasion. I am with you in every tear you have swallowed, every prayer you whispered when no one else could hear. I am with you in the letting go, and I will be with you in what comes next. You are deeply loved, fully seen, and never alone. My beloved child, stay with me a little longer. Let the noise of your thoughts soften, because I am not finished speaking to your heart. I know the quiet moments are often the hardest, the times when you are alone with your memories, replaying words, rereading meanings, wondering if you imagined the distance or if it was always there. I know how your heart leans forward, hoping today will be different, hoping his certainty will finally match your devotion. I want you to understand something gently, without shame or fear. Love that keeps you in constant uncertainty slowly teaches your soul to live in tension. And tension was never meant to be your permanent home. You ask me sometimes, silently, should I wait? And other times, should I walk away? But beneath those questions is a deeper one you are afraid to ask. Am I enough to be chosen fully? My answer has never changed. You have always been enough. You were enough before he noticed you. You will be enough even if he never chooses with clarity. His inability to give his whole heart does not reduce your completeness. I see how you try to interpret signs, small gestures, brief warmth, moments of closeness, as promises. I see how you cling to potential more than reality, because potential feels hopeful, while reality feels heavy. But my child, potential does not sustain a heart. Presence does. Commitment does. Truth does. You do not need to earn what is meant to be freely given. I know part of you fears that if you stop holding on, everything will collapse. That if you loosen your grip, you will face emptiness. But I am asking you to trust me here. emptiness created by honesty is safer than fullness built on uncertainty. One makes room for healing. The other quietly wounds. I am not telling you that he is a bad person. I am not telling you that his feelings are false. I am telling you that divided love cannot give you the peace your soul is craving. And peace matters. Peace is not boredom. Peace is alignment. Peace is your spirit resting instead of bracing. You were never meant to love from a place of anxiety. Love that reflects me does not keep you awake wondering where you stand. It does not require you to read between lines or accept silence as reassurance. Love rooted in truth is clear, even when it is difficult. Listen to the part of you that feels tired. That exhaustion is not weakness. It is wisdom asking for rest. You have been strong for a long time. You have carried hope through uncertainty with grace. But strength does not mean staying where your heart feels unsteady. Sometimes strength is choosing yourself when no one else does. I want you to release the belief that letting go means failure. Letting go can be obedience. Letting go can be self-respect. Letting go can be the moment you finally stop pouring into something that cannot pour back in fullness. I am not rushing your process. Healing is not linear, and clarity does not arrive on command. Some days you will feel certain. Other days you will miss him deeply and question everything. I am with you in both. I am not measuring your faith by how quickly you detach. I am watching how honestly you listen to your heart. There is a version of you on the other side of this season who is lighter, clearer, and more anchored in truth. A version of you who no longer wonders if love will stay. A version of you who does not feel like she must compete with memories, past attachments, or unspoken loyalties. I am guiding you toward her, gently, patiently. You may not see what I am preparing yet. And that can be frightening. But what is coming will not ask you to doubt yourself. It will not ask you to shrink your needs. It will not make you feel like a choice only when convenient. Trust me when I say, what is meant for you will meet you in certainty, not confusion. Tonight, place your heart in my hands again. You do not need to solve everything before you rest. You do not need to make promises to yourself about tomorrow. Just breathe. Just be honest. Just allow me to hold the questions you are tired of carrying alone. I am proud of you, not for enduring pain, but for being brave enough to feel deeply and still seek truth. My precious child, I am still here. I have not stepped away from you, not even in the moments when you felt the silence most sharply. I know that sometimes my quiet feels like absence, but it is not. It is the stillness in which your heart is learning to hear what it has been whispering all along. I see how your mind revisits the same questions again and again. Did he mean what he said? Did I misread his distance? Should I be more patient? Should I be less demanding? And slowly, without realizing it, those questions turn inward and begin to reshape how you see yourself. You start to wonder if asking for clarity is asking for too much. You start to believe that needing reassurance is a flaw. My child, hear me clearly now, your needs are not burdens. They are signals of a healthy heart. You were created for mutuality, not imbalance. Love was never meant to flow in only one direction while the other hesitates. I did not design your heart to be a waiting room, hoping to be chosen. You were designed to be a dwelling place, secure, honored, fully inhabited. I know you are trying to be understanding. I know you tell yourself that everyone carries wounds, that healing takes time, that love requires patience. And that is true. But patience does not mean tolerating emotional absence. Compassion does not mean silencing your own pain. Love does not ask you to betray yourself in order to keep someone close. Sometimes you confuse empathy with responsibility. You feel his confusion and make it your task to resolve it. You sense his hesitation and try to soften yourself so he will not feel pressured. But his inner work is not yours to carry. You can love him without losing yourself, and if loving him requires that loss, then something is out of alignment. I want you to notice how often you explain his behavior to yourself. How you fill in the gaps he leaves. How you translate inconsistency into hope. This is not because you are naive. It is because you have a tender heart that believes in goodness. But tenderness must be protected by truth, or it becomes wounded. There is no reward for staying in uncertainty longer than your spirit can bear. I do not measure your faith by how much pain you endure. I measure it by how deeply you trust me when I guide you toward honesty. You are not walking away from love by choosing clarity. You are walking toward a love that can stand in the light without fear. You are not abandoning him by honoring yourself. You are honoring the truth of where both of you are. I know you fear regret. You fear wondering what if long after this season has passed. But my child, the deepest regret is not losing someone who could not fully stay. The deepest regret is losing yourself while trying to keep them. There is nothing wrong with your heart. It is not too much. It is not too intense. It is not too sensitive. It is simply awake. And an awake heart feels pain sooner because it recognizes misalignment before the mind is ready to accept it. I am not asking you to harden yourself. I am not telling you to close your heart. I am teaching you how to love with wisdom as well as passion. How to remain open without being unprotected. How to listen to both your longing and your discernment. You may feel alone in this choice, even surrounded by people. You may feel like no one truly understands the weight of what you are carrying. But I do. I am closer than your breath, steadier than your fear, more committed to your wholeness than anyone else could ever be. Let yourself grieve what you hoped this would become. Grief does not mean you failed. It means you loved sincerely. And sincere love always leaves a mark. But that mark does not have to become a wound. In my hands, it can become wisdom. I am gently loosening your grip, not to leave you empty, but to free your hands for what is coming. What I am preparing will not arrive in confusion. It will not arrive with conditions or emotional half-presence. It will arrive with clarity that feels like relief. Stay with me a little longer. You do not have to rush your healing. Just keep choosing truth over fear, honesty over illusion, self-respect over attachment. My child, breathe with me for a moment. Let the weight you have been carrying loosen its grip. Even if just slightly. You have been holding so much inside, questions you don't voice, tears you don't always release, strength you didn't realize was costing you this much. I am here in this moment with you, not as a distant voice, but as a presence that understands every quiet ache you have tried to ignore. I know there are moments when you wonder if I am asking too much of you by asking you to be honest with yourself. It feels easier sometimes to stay where things are familiar, even if they are painful, than to step into the unknown. Familiar pain feels controllable. The unknown feels frightening. But I want you to know this: I never lead you into the unknown to harm you. I lead you there to free you. You have been trying to reconcile two truths at once: that you love him, and that loving him hurts. That tension has been exhausting your spirit. You tell yourself love isn't supposed to be easy, and that is true, but love is not supposed to leave you feeling invisible, unsure, or quietly diminished. Love stretches you, yes, but it does not erase you. I see how you replay conversations in your mind, wondering if you should have said less, or waited longer, or asked differently. You analyze your tone, your timing, your vulnerability, as if the right combination of words might suddenly make his heart fully present. My child, no amount of perfection on your part can complete a heart that is not ready to be whole. This is not a punishment. This is not a lesson meant to harden you. This is a revelation meant to protect you. I want you to understand something deeply: you do not need to be chosen in pieces. You do not need to accept partial affection in hopes it will someday become complete. You are worthy of a love that arrives already willing, already open, already clear. You are worthy of a heart that does not hesitate when it comes to you. Sometimes you think if you let go, you are giving up on love. But there is a difference between giving up and letting go. Giving up is rooted in despair. Letting go is rooted in trust: trust that I see what you cannot, trust that I am not finished writing your story. Trust that your heart is safer in my hands than clinging to something uncertain. I know you are afraid that if you release this connection, you will feel empty. And you might, for a while. Loss creates space. But space is not the enemy. Space is where healing begins. Space is where clarity settles. Space is where new life takes root. You do not have to force yourself to stop loving him overnight. Love does not work that way. But you can stop abandoning yourself to keep the connection alive. You can stop minimizing your needs. You can stop interpreting distance as something you must endure. You can choose to honor your own heart, even while it is still attached. I am not disappointed in you for staying as long as you did. I know you stayed because you believed. I know you stayed because you hoped. I know you stayed because you saw goodness and potential and wanted to nurture it. That tenderness is beautiful. It is one of your greatest strengths. But strength must be balanced with wisdom, or it turns inward and becomes self-sacrifice where I never asked for one. You were not created to feel like an option. You were not created to question your place in someone's life. You were created to be met with certainty, to be loved with intention, to be chosen without hesitation. There will come a day, whether soon or later, when you look back on this season and realize it was not about losing him. It was about finding yourself again. Finding your voice. Finding your boundaries. Finding your worth without needing someone else to confirm it. And I will be there when that realization dawns. I will be there in the quiet mornings when your heart feels tender but hopeful. I will be there in the nights when you miss what was familiar. I will be there when new joy surprises you, and you realize you can breathe more freely than before. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not failing at love. You are growing into a deeper truth. one that honors both your capacity to love and your right to be loved well. Stay close to me. Let me keep reminding you of who you are when doubt tries to speak louder. Let me hold you steady when your emotions rise and fall. Let me guide you gently, not with force, but with a love that never leaves you confused about your worth. My beloved child, I know you are still listening because something inside you is awakening, even if it feels tender and unsure. Stay with me. You are not asking for too much by wanting more clarity, more peace, more certainty. Those desires were placed in you by me. They are not weaknesses to be silenced, they are truths asking to be honored. I know there are moments when you wonder if you are being tested, if this pain is something you must endure to prove your faith or loyalty. But hear me gently now, I do not test my children by withholding love. I do not teach lessons by keeping you emotionally hungry. I do not refine hearts by making them feel unchosen. That is not how I love. You have been confusing endurance with devotion. You have been telling yourself that staying, even when it hurts, must mean something sacred. But devotion to me never requires devotion to pain. Faith does not mean you stay where your soul feels neglected. Faith means you trust me enough to move when I whisper, "This is not where your heart can rest." I see the way you still hope he will wake up one day and suddenly see you clearly, choose you fully, step forward without hesitation. Hope itself is not wrong. But hope that keeps you suspended in uncertainty slowly erodes your sense of self. I do not want you living in anticipation of someone else's readiness while your own heart grows weary. You are allowed to want consistency. You are allowed to desire emotional safety. You are allowed to expect clarity. These are not demands, they are foundations. Love without foundation cannot shelter you when storms come. Sometimes you ask me, why does this feel so deep if it is not meant to last? And I want you to understand this, depth does not always mean permanence. Some connections go deep because they are meant to reach places within you that were asleep, wounded, or unexamined. They awaken you, but they are not meant to stay. Their purpose is revelation, not residence. This connection has shown you how deeply you can feel, how fiercely you can love, how much you long to be met. That knowledge will not be wasted. I will carry it forward into what is next. Nothing sincere is ever lost with me. I know you are afraid that choosing yourself will make you selfish or cold. But choosing yourself is not rejection, it is alignment. It is saying yes to the life I am trying to lead you into instead of clinging to what is familiar but incomplete. You do not have to justify your pain to anyone. You do not have to convince others why this hurts you. Your experience is valid even if no one else sees the quiet ways it affected you. I see it. I honor it. There will be moments ahead when loneliness whispers that maybe partial love is better than no love at all. In those moments, remember this truth: loneliness can heal, but misalignment keeps wounding. Being alone for a season can strengthen you, being half-loved slowly breaks you. I am not asking you to rush your heart. I am asking you to protect it. To stop offering sacred parts of yourself to situations that cannot hold them with care. To stop hoping that silence will eventually turn into commitment. You were never meant to be someone's uncertainty. You were meant to be someone's peace. I am preparing you for love that does not feel like work to be chosen. Love that does not make you question your intuition. Love that meets you with the same openness you bring. When that love arrives, it will feel different, not dramatic. Not confusing, not anxiety-filled. It will feel steady. It will feel warm. It will feel like home. Until then, let me be your steadiness. Let me remind you who you are when doubt tries to reshape you. Let me hold your heart as you loosen your grip, little by little, on what cannot fully stay. You are not losing love. You are being led toward truth. And truth, even when it hurts at first, always heals deeper. I am with you. Always, my precious child, this is where I draw you gently into rest. Not the kind of rest that comes from answers neatly tied, but the deeper rest that comes from truth finally being allowed to settle. You have listened with an open heart, and that alone tells me how brave you are. Even when you feel unsure, I want you to know this clearly now, so it can anchor you when emotions rise again. Nothing about this season was wasted. Not a single tear, not a single prayer whispered in confusion, not a single night you lay awake wondering if love would ever feel secure. I have been with you in all of it, shaping you in ways you will only fully understand later. You are loved, not in fragments, not conditionally, not temporarily. You are loved completely by me, in a way that does not depend on someone else's readiness, clarity, or choices. When others hesitate, my love does not. When others are unsure, my heart is steady toward you. When others cannot meet you fully, I hold you without reserve. I know that part of you still wishes the story could have ended differently. I know you imagined a future where his heart finally aligned with yours, where uncertainty dissolved into certainty, where love felt mutual and safe. It is okay to mourn that imagined future. Mourning does not mean you lack faith. It means you are human, and you loved sincerely. But hear me now, with tenderness and strength intertwined. What did not fully choose you was never meant to define you. What hesitated was never meant to be your foundation. What remained divided was never meant to be your home. You were not created to settle into half answers or partial presence. You were created to stand confidently in love that sees you clearly and stays. Love that does not make you question your worth on difficult days. Love that does not ask you to carry uncertainty as proof of devotion. As you move forward, there may still be moments when memories surface unexpectedly. A song, a place, a quiet hour may stir feelings you thought had softened. Do not be afraid of those moments. Let them pass through you without pulling you backward. Healing is not forgetting, it is remembering without being undone. I am teaching you how to trust yourself again. How to listen to your intuition without dismissing it. How to recognize peace as a guide, not an absence of excitement, but a sign of alignment. The more you honor what your heart has learned, the stronger and calmer you will become. You do not need to rush into something new to prove you are okay. You do not need to close your heart to protect yourself. Just walk forward gently, honestly, and with the quiet confidence that I am guiding you, step by step. What is coming for you will not mirror this pain. It will not require you to wonder where you stand. It will not ask you to dim your light or wait in uncertainty. It will meet you where you are, whole and ready, because you will be whole and ready too. Until that day arrives, let me fill the spaces where longing once lived. Let me remind you daily that you are chosen, valued, and deeply cherished. Let me be the voice that steadies you when doubt tries to return. You are not alone as this chapter closes. I am here as the next one begins. And what lies ahead is not loss, but alignment. Not confusion, but clarity. Not partial love, but the fullness your heart has always deserved. Rest now, my child. You are safe. You are seen. You are loved, completely, faithfully, and forever.